Do you want it? Or
Yeah,
no?
either rail, fucking punish for it, endlessly.
No, okay.
No, it's not the rail. You said like brokies are against you because they didn't get fucking stimulus, and it's not applicable to either of us.
No milk, just water.
It's not applicable to either of us.
Okay,
And the only other person I have heard this from is Trent.
Let's just chill. Chill, make sure to calm down. Okay, that's nice. Oh yeah, that's nice. Oh, Gerald's best friend, huh? Yeah? Little giraffe? Shh. The little giraffe dog, huh? Yeah. Little giraffe dog, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Alright. I'm live on YouTube right now.
Perfect timing.
Yep.
Hey, goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. Why are you getting so loud?
See?
It's midnight.
I'm using the iPhone.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You want Joe now? Hey, chill, psycho. You little psycho. Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. You're the cutest little baby. You're my cute little baby. You're my cute little baby. You're sucking it too hard, babes. Shh. Okay. Shh. Does that feel good? Is that better when I put you on your side like that? Does that feel better? Did you look calm? Calmer?
Mm-hmm.
Eyes open?
Yeah.
But do I detect a... So you're interested in my potions and ingredients?
He doesn't want the milk. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Alright, so the missing submarine is off the coast of Newfoundland, which is here, northeast Canada. Newfoundland and Labrador, island of Newfoundland.
So, what happened? It's my change. No. No.
Oh, wait. No. Okay.
Alright. Unspecified ship, cargo vessel, fishing. Alright, so it looks like all these pink ones are fishermen. They're orange. The red ones are tankers. The green ones are cargo vessels. Purple's pleasure craft. Search marine traffic. Oceangate pleasure craft, U.S. Let's see, Oceangate. French rescue submarine Titanic missing. France sends rescue team to find missing crew. Expected to arrive on site Wednesday. That is yesterday. What is the name? French Research Institute for Sea Exploitation. Okay, the vessel Atalante. So we're going to copy that name. We're going to put that in the search bar here. Atalante. Research survey vessel. France, that's what we want. Show on live map. Yes, they're near Newfoundland, and they're here in a cluster of other ships. Tugs and special craft. Okay, so these tugs and special craft seem to be the rescue vehicles. So now that we found the French ship that was sent out to help rescue, we can now start looking at the other ships near it. They don't have names on them because they're special crafts. All right. Well, that's pretty cool that we just Google searched our way to finding the French special rescue vehicle. So this seems to be the search area in general. Vessel filters, ship type. We'll turn off fishing. Turn off tankers. Turn off high-speed craft. And then now we've just got the special boys. Underway. All right. We had 4 viewers, now we have 2 viewers. Looks okay to me, he's just trying to get comfy.
Eyes closed?
Nope. 3 viewers trying to find this submarine with me here. I think we can do it, folks. I think we can use the power of the internet. As long as the baby doesn't start screaming, we should be able to figure something out here. Right, folks? I also hope they come out safe, Crazy Stunts. Could you imagine you go out on Father's Day in a submersible with your son, which one of the people did, and next thing you know, you're missing and the entire world is looking for you? It's like, holy cow. I don't care how rich you are or your feelings about rich people in general. It's like, that's pretty... I wouldn't want anybody to feel that way. It's pretty rough. But, so we did find we found one special vehicle, the French one. So here's Newfoundland. Here is the search area right here. All these like baby blue, like teal crafts, these are special research vehicles. And they're searching like in a line, it looks like. Let's see if we can find the trench where the Titanic sunk. Cape Town, South Africa, don't judge people on the wrong things. We're all human after all. Yep, we're all human after all. At the end of the day.
We're going to make them pay.
At the end of the day, that was just a dad and his kid going out on Father's Day trying to do something cool. Alright, so trench where Titanic sank. 370 nautical miles southeast off the coast of Newfoundland. It lies in 2 main pieces. Let's see if we can't get an image of a map where it's at. Alright, so right around here. That's not a very good image. Alright, so the Titanic sunk somewhere around there. Halifax. Titanic sank April 15th. Oh yeah. All the wild stuff happens around my birthday. So they sunk there. Here we go.
You want me?
His eyes are open.
Okay. Oh, my hair is okay. I
I love this satellite imagery. see if we can't get a live satellite view of that area. Here we go. So we got a live satellite view. Man, the internet is insane. The internet is insane. So it looks like there might even be a storm that's gonna hit. The weather's not looking that great. It's cloudy, light rain. The banging, I'm afraid they might have heard is their last plea, like, let me out banging. Possibly, or it could have even been like other debris, because if they are around the Titanic, then there could be other debris that's getting banged on. There's certainly ocean life, you know, but so it looks like they're getting clouds, they're getting some light rain. The radar looks pretty clear though. So that's good. But the ships here, let's zoom out. We got 5 people viewing now, just so you all can see. This is marinetraffic.com. It shows every ship in the world, basically, that is on official business. The same way you can track aircraft, you can track ships. And we located the rescue efforts. It's right here, this line of ships right here. By locating the Atalante, the French ship that is going out to help. France is deploying a rescue team to help find the Titanic Tourist Submarine reported missing on the Atlantic Ocean. The French Research Institute for Sea Exploitation, which is under the authority of the Sea and Research Ministries, has diverted its vessel Atalante, equipped with the deep-sea robot, to the area where the submarine disappeared. It arrived there on Wednesday, and we can see now when we type in Atalante, we get an image of the ship here. This is what the ship looks like. It has a deep-sea robot on board. I blew it up there for you so you guys can see in chat. That ship arrived yesterday. Underway using engine, speed course 13 knots, 160 degrees. So if they're going 13 knots, speed recorded max 13 knots, average 10.9 knots. They're going pretty quick. Past track. So we can track where that ship went. And it's just going on a route right here, as you can see on this line. It's just on a search route. Pretty crazy. I don't know. I hope that they find them, but it doesn't seem. I have my doubts. I hope they find them, but we can't do anything about it, and that's that.
Can't do anything about it if they do find them.
If they find them and they're still submerged under nerds. Oh, what up, Callie? We are tracking the rescue ships that are looking for that missing sub. We got the name of a French research vessel that was being sent there, the Atalante. We went to marinetraffic.com. We typed in Atalante. It shows us where the ship is live on the map. And with that data, we can basically decide that all these other tug and special crafts are Titanic wreck site, destination Titanic wreck site. See, that's pretty wild. The Polar Prince, vessel details, underway using engine going 2.1 knots. That's the speed. That's not very fast. Not as fast as the Atalante going 13 knots. But I'm off to work, guys. Keep up the good work. You too, Crazy Stunts. Be safe. Have a good day at work. So yeah, I'm tracking the submarine rescue mission, basically. Trying my best. What are you doing, bro? I know I'm not streaming on my PC. I'm streaming on my laptop using an iPhone with Streamlabs because I'm just trying to chill up here with the wife and baby. But I'm also testing out mobile streaming. So, testing. Nerds, everybody go follow Nerds Doing Things, by the way. That's a couple nerds that do things. It's my friend Joel and his wife Nikki nerding up on movie trailers and whatnot. The baby's asleep. So SAR, search and rescue, destination Titanic wreck site. What happens when we type that in? Titanic wreck site. Nothing. Okay. Most tracked vessels, Polar Prince. Yeah, so that's so awesome. You can click most tracked vessels and you can just go right to the search and rescue vehicles that are available. So Polar Prince, Horizon Arctic, yep, they're off the coast of Newfoundland too. Anne Harvey, that's pretty wild. Terry Fox. A lot of Canadian ships because they are just off the coast of Canada. But oh my, man, it's such a huge... Does anybody know if they have NRSV out there yet? And if they do, if they have taken a scan of the ship and compared it to the ones from the most recent dive, looking for any extra damage in comparison? Well, I'm just a guy in his underwear on a laptop right now who doesn't even know what NRSV stands for.
Rescue vehicle?
search and rescue vehicle. I don't know. There are, let's count them up right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 visible. Oh, remote submergence vehicle. Yeah, so the France sent out a search and rescue vehicle with the Atalante. It's a robotic deep sea submersible, and they're out there using it right now. And there are also a handful of other vessels that we can see on marinetraffic.com. Most tracked vessels. Polar Prince has a lot of eyes on it. Let's see if there are any articles referring to the Polar Prince. Polar Prince Titanic missing submarine search and rescue. Alright, that's not enough. The Polar Prince search and rescue. Is it too soon to talk about lawsuits? Probably too soon to talk about lawsuits, because it hasn't been enough time yet. That's why it's too soon. So, yeah. Thank you all for tuning into the live stream. I hope that this is the riveting news that you came to look for. If they did a scan of the deck of the ship in comparison to a scan from a couple years ago, they might be able to see if there is a hole that could have been caused by the Titan. I'll tell you what. Based off of previous passenger testimony, the Titan got 37 feet down and had to abort its mission because there was a pressure issue. That's sketchy. On top of the fact that the mothership that the Titan uses goes out for 5 days at a time. They have enough supplies for 5 days at a time. And if they started their voyage on Sunday, today is Thursday, that's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday being today, and when the morning comes, it would be the 5th day. They were slated around noon on Wednesday to have like 13 hours of air left. That time is coming past, so I don't know. There's a lot to this story. My intention with this stream was to track the search and rescue vehicles using free and available software and resources such as marinetraffic.com. And as you can see, these teal vessels, these are search and rescue vessels that are going in a straight line from the island of Newfoundland. And tug and special craft. There's a significant amount of these tug and special crafts out in the area doing what they can. What sort of permission do they need to go on this expedition? I heard the sub was not rated for that depth. So basically, when you get into the ocean, depending on whether it's international waters or if it's sovereign territory, you don't need any permission if it's international waters. You have the freedom as a human being to go out into the depths of the ocean and sink or swim, literally. So basically, these were people just being people, using their freedom of free will to go out and be adventurous, be explorers, and also be high net worth tourists, as it costs $250,000 a seat to get into this little minivan that goes under the water. And I mean, when I saw, well, I'll just show you guys the videos. You guys can make your own conclusions. But when I watched this little interview about the ship, my red flags were going off. So I'll show you guys. YouTube. We got 4 people watching. Thank you all for watching. I'm appreciative of your attention and your time. Oceangate Titanic Tour review. So that's the company's name. It's called Oceangate. They have reviews. They're a legitimate company. They tricked people into, or convinced people into paying $250,000 to sit in a cramped minivan that goes underwater 13,000 feet. That's where the Titanic is, so you would assume that if they were going to go explore the Titanic, they would be able to go down 13,000 feet. And, yeah. I thought the Titanic wreck was protected by some international law due to the site being repeatedly looted. Well, I'm not fairly familiar with international Titanic law. I'm actually just really familiar with bird law, pigeons, peregrine falcons, orioles, things of that sort, ravens and owls. A lot of assault lawsuits between those two parties. So, yeah, I'm really big on bird law, not too big on international water law. I do know, though, that you can have a knife fight with a monkey. Once you pass into international law, there's international waters, there's little to no laws, and there's almost no enforcement because the ocean's a big place, and they just don't have a bunch of popos out there pulling people over. So it's 2 miles underground. No man can go there with suits. Only robots and submarines. Yes, only robots and submarines. And the submarines have to be so small because if they're big, they can't withstand the pressure. So the Titanic Tourist Submarine that's missing was like 13 feet long, 8 feet wide. That's the same width of a shaggin' wagon, like a 1982 Dodge Econovan. And you can definitely get laid in that amount of space, but 5 dudes going underwater in that amount of space, unless they all planned on getting laid, is probably not the best idea, and it's certainly not comfortable. I could only imagine some poor fool trying to steal from an underwater graveyard. Yeah, I mean, people are silly, right? These guys went down there to get pictures and take selfies and, see something that they could never need to know when it comes to people doing silly things. Those 5 folks are in a coffin. Well, it certainly is an expensive coffin sitting at $250,000 a seat. You probably could have got a much better deal with some good pine wood and silk interior, but I'll leave that to the morticians and funeral directors amongst you. Anyways, there's a video of this guy from CNBC or whatever. Reporter on Oceangate. Here he is, his experience.
Now, there are 5 people on board a vessel bound together is necessarily an indication of his general fucking. That, he says, is buttoned down and solid. So, I I don't think the fact that some of these things are kind of MacGyvered together is necessarily an indication of its general.
He said, I don't think that some of these things are MacGyvered together is an indication of general sloppiness. If you don't know what MacGyver is, it's a dude who can take duct tape and hair ties and turn them into like a C4 bomb. It essentially means that you're improvising and doing the best you can with what you have available. And to be completely honest, I don't want to get in a submarine that's made with duct tape and PVC pipe, no matter how cool their commercials are. Let's see. So yeah, that's the ship. That's the mothership. That's the submersible. It looks like a little Pokeball of death. So 30 hours left of oxygen. This video was uploaded 1 day ago. So they're running out of oxygen. Shahzada Dawood and Suleiman Dawood, that's a father and son. They went down there on Father's Day. They're billionaire Pakistanis. Yes, things in the craft were improvised, never tested to its limits or certified. It's so terrible. If anyone is alive still, it's a miracle. Yes, it would definitely be a Father's Day miracle. That'd be pretty amazing if they were alive. I don't think that they are, just because of the improvised nature of the craft that they used to go down. On top of, what if they turned to cannibalism? What if one of them had a psychotic break inside the ship and they did something erratic that caused a catastrophe? Are there any mental health checks and background checks done on these passengers before they lock themselves in with each other? Because you cannot exit this vehicle from the inside. They are literally bolted inside of the submersible from the outside on the mothership and then lowered into the ocean. So if there was anyone inside the ship that was a tourist, that was a guest, that was a customer, that had a psychotic break, had a panic attack during their submersion, during their trip down, could that have played a factor on that catastrophe that we're seeing right now? I think it's within the realm of reason that maybe someone had a psychotic break and something happened that created a situation that they could not recover from. Not to mention the fact that there are underwater jet streams, currents that they can get caught up in, and if they do not have the propulsion to escape those jet streams, then they could just get swept away. They could get swept into the ship. Another passenger of a previous expedition said that they were looking at the propellers of the Titanic and they noticed they were moving faster and closer to the propellers because they were swept up in a rip current underwater, and that could easily end your fun touristy trip if you end up getting smashed into the hull of whatever you're trying to take a look at. I would have taken up all the oxygen already, yeah. Imagine the farts. Their poo-poo pee-pee situation was just a bucket with Ziploc bags. So you're in that 13-foot by 8-foot minivan sized submersible in just your socks, right? You're in just your socks. You're pooping in a bucket. You are farting. If you have anxiety or if you aren't eating and you get nauseous, then they're throwing up. And generally when people get anxious, they hyperventilate. Their breathing is not as controlled. And who's to say that estimate of 30 hours of air was cut in half by 3 of the 5 people having anxiety attacks and hyperventilating, you know? Who knows? But I think it would have been a shame if the people that were guests on this vessel did not have a mental health check prior to getting on, because if you get down in the ocean like that and you're not familiar and you're not prepared to do that, and you have a psychotic episode and you hurt somebody else on the vessel or damage the vessel in some way, it could be catastrophic. You would think the leader of the expedition would have learned a thing or two from Bruce Ismay. Yeah. Well, I think that it says a lot that the CEO, Stockton Rush, went on this trip. That means, in my opinion, that they had a lot of trust and they needed to show these people who had billions. So Hamish Harding, he was a British billionaire. Shazda Dawood, he's a Pakistani billionaire. Paul Henry, he was a researcher who did previous work on documenting the Titanic in its final resting place. So you've got 2 billionaires, 1 billionaire's son, a scientist, French submariner, ex-Navy officer, and then the owner and CEO of the company Oceangate, who's putting on the whole expedition. It sounds almost like it's an investment trip. The CEO is going down with these 2 billionaires to show them how safe it is and how trusting they can be with their money as an investment into this business. When you read between the lines, my wife is playing Skyrim in the background there. She's a gamer girl. Okay, so none of these fellows have any connection to the forever stalled Australian Titanic 2 project. Yeah, I'm not sure. There would be another event just like this if people don't learn from the mistakes. Dude, I'm playing Skyrim 2. That's dope. Do you like all the updates that they did and some of the things that they added recently?
For the anniversary.
The anniversary updates. It seems like the game plays a bit smoother and there's some new animals and NPCs. That's cool. Such an old game, but still a good one.
If you're looking for anime, my brothers are good for enough. Some may call this junk. Me, I call them treasures.
The irony of a submarine falling prey to the curse of the unsinkable. Well, the irony that they just call anything a submarine if it goes underwater. I've seen semi-submersible vehicles made by Mexican cartels that seem to have a better setup than what was going on in this, multi-billion-dollar impromptu MacGyver mobile. Oh, you're not playing the most up-to-date version? Are you playing like the older version so you can get away with certain bugs that have been patched? That's always good fun.
Sunday, and as of this afternoon, the Coast Guard said search efforts so far have yielded no results. Canada has sent additional vessels to assist in that search, but this is an extremely complex mission. That search area is about 10,000 square miles and more than 2 miles deep. For context, the deepest human scuba diver ever stands at more than 1,000 feet. At more than 3,000 feet, light is no longer even visible in the ocean. And the Titanic, well, that rests way below that, nearly 13,000
Wow.
below sea level. Weather conditions could also be a complicating factor in all of this, not to mention the condition of that submersible and whether it has working equipment that could even get detected. And our first guest witnessed the red flags on that vessel firsthand. I want to bring in David Pogue, who's the host.
This
of
isn't a
the
biased
Science
news
podcast and CBS
broadcast.
Morning correspondent. David,
Red flags?
this video of you showing really the insides and interior workings of this vessel basically went viral. Given what you have seen, the seemingly kind of jerry-rigged components of it all, are you surprised that it is now lost?
I actually see these as two totally different things, because Dr. Naresh's answer to that question you haven't seen yet, which is where he said, all these little things like the lights and the controller and the thrusters, those can break and you'll be fine. The part we put all our attention and care into is the passenger compartment that contains the air, the carbon fiber cylinder, and that we work with NASA, we work with Boeing. That, he said, is buttoned down and solid. So I don't think the fact that some of these things are kind of MacGyvered together is necessarily...
MacGyvered together.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other things that we're learning is that this vessel is really supposed to float back to the surface, especially if something goes wrong. When you were on board and you actually kind of started a mission and had to come back up, did they disclose to you what the contingency plans are if something goes wrong?
There aren't very many things that can go wrong to do anything about, right?
Oof.
So fire is something they address.
There aren't very many things that could go wrong that you can do anything about. That in and of itself is something that would make me not want to go do something like this. If you cannot survive in the worst case scenario because you're completely out of control, well then that's just something that I'm really not interested in partaking in. And I think that most survival oriented people would agree with me that you should always weigh your pros and cons despite how badly you want to do something. Like, these people wanted to do this so badly, they spent the same amount of money that it would cost to buy a 4 to 5 bedroom house per person. One guy did it for himself and his son. So they spent $500 million to go down there. That's, to me, $500,000 is $500,000. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot and I'm bad at math. $500,000 is enough money to buy a massive house in my state, not in California, but California sucks. So, anyways.
Extensively, they showed us where the fire extinguisher was. They have a smoke mask for each passenger. We had to practice putting those on. But beyond that, what can you do if the sub gets trapped, if the sub develops a leak, if the sub goes without power? All of the things that can happen beyond that, the answer is the same thing: get to the surface. And they have so many different ways of getting to the surface. They can drop sandbags, they can drop lead pipes, they can drop the legs off the bottom, they have an air balloon that pulls them, they can use their thrusters, and, as you mentioned, one of these 7 different methods is a dead man switch. That is, it will send you to the surface even if everyone on board has passed out. It's a time-release sandbag system that slowly dissolves the connectors underneath the sub and lets them drop off after a certain number of hours, and you go to the surface even if you're not awake.
So you were on this vessel, right? I wonder, first of all, if you were scared to go down there, but also, were you told what to do in the event of something going wrong? Because my understanding on the passenger list are some people, including the CEO, who have a lot of experience with this vessel, and perhaps some people who are more...
Fallen Rays asks, what is the most recent update? Well, I can tell you this. We're we're tracking these search and rescue vehicles, and you can see this line here. This is a line of one of the vehicle's polar prints, and it's going in a zigzag Z-like line. I would assume they're popping sonar. I'm assume they have microphones listening. And the most recent update that I've seen is that they've heard banging sounds. So, missing Oceangate Submarine update. 1 hour ago. 43 minutes ago. These 5 key vessels are playing a big role in the search efforts. The CCGS John Cabot, Motor Vessel Horizon Arctic, Research Vessel La Atalante, HMCS Glace Bay, Magellan ROV. 1 hour ago, search operation is going as fast as it could be, expert says. That means slowly. If someone says it's going as fast as it could be, that person is not confident in the speed of the rescue efforts.
This is the resting place of East.
Ocean explorer Tom Detweiler told CNN it is a tremendous effort to move all the heavy equipment needed, and it has been done as fast as it could be. It is all very large, very heavy, and it had to be flown up in cargo airplanes, said Detweiler, an ocean operations and engineering consultant who led an expedition that discovered the Titanic wreckage in 1985. So that guy found the Titanic. He was part of the team. I would say that he has valid opinions on the matter. Then it has got to be carried to the ship. This massive machinery has to be lifted on board, secured to the deck, so it doesn't shift when the ship is rolling at sea. Detweiler said lifting the vessel would be a massive effort, which would have to be done quite quickly. So here's the thing. That reporter who was actually on the vessel here, he said that there is a dead man's switch that releases sandbags even if all of the passengers are unconscious. It has a time-released mechanism that automatically releases sandbags into the ocean, which allows the vehicle to rise to the surface. The only way that that might not happen is if there was a malfunction in that mechanism, or if they were trapped under something and there was something blocking their upward travel trajectory. So, for example, they're under a shelf, they're under a piece of debris, they are really close to the ship because dudes paid $500,000 to get on board, and they wanted to get as close as possible, so they just maybe overlooked some of their standard operating procedures. Maybe they overlooked some of their safety precautions so they could perhaps sell the experience to these people. Rich people are very persuasive and adamant and can be very pushy about things that they want. And people who need their money to continue their research efforts and keep their company afloat, no pun intended, might overlook certain safety precautions to try to close the deal on whatever investment opportunities might have presented themselves by having these super rich people on their little submersible. Thanks for the update. You hear the CEO of Oceangate explain why he didn't want to hire 50-year-old white guys? No, I didn't hear that, but I bet if he hired 50-year-old white guys, he might not be in the situation he's in right now. The Titanic Preservation Agreement was signed in 1986. That's 1 year after they found the Titanic. Let's look up what the Titanic Preservation Agreement is. Also, let's take a look at the weather again.
This is the resting place of East.
It's looking very cloudy. That's going to hamper any air support that they have. They have multiple C-130s. Those are very large military aircraft cargo planes. They have a lot of room for equipment, and they can fly for a very long time. So if they have a lot of cloud cover, that might not be helpful towards the air reconnaissance that they have going on. That's a shame. This is a live satellite view of the search and rescue area. You can see there's a lot of heavy cloud cover, so that's unfortunate. It doesn't look like there's any precipitation. The wind, which could be a factor if the vessel is on the ocean's surface. If the vessel did make its way to the surface and is just waiting to be rescued on the surface, which could still be bad, because if the vehicle is on the surface and they do not get the vessel opened and they run out of air, they will suffocate. So that's kind of like the real shame about this. Even if all of their safety precautions did pan out and they do get to the surface, they might still suffocate inside of this vessel because it is locked from the outside. You would think that they would have explosive bolts on those doors and hatchways like they do on the lunar and other space vehicles. There are explosive bolts. They're bolts with explosives in them. In the event that they have to explode in order to open certain hatches, they can just automatically open themselves. If you posted a link or copy pasted something in chat that is longer than the chat character limit, it might not show in chat, just letting you know. But it looks like they've got well, inland it's around 15 mile per hour winds. It gets up to 26 mile per hour winds, 27 mile per hour winds. That definitely affects the water surface tension, that affects the waves, and it can make it more difficult for the vessels on the surface of the ocean trying to rescue these people. Definitely rough seas with 27 mile per hour winds. Could it be higher? Yeah. But, you know, if you've ever been on a motorcycle or in a vehicle and stuck your head out of the window at 27 miles an hour, that's a decent amount of wind. And that makes the ocean pretty choppy. They have wind gusts of up to 37 miles an hour, it looks like, so that's no good. Let's take a look at the ships again. On marinetraffic.com, you can click the search bar and go to most tracked vessels. And the first 5, well, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 6 vessels are participating in the search and rescue effort. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One thing to know for sure, when all these vessels gather up into one area, they've probably found something. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vessels not too close to each other. There are definitely 2 that are very close. You can see here. And this software does even show where the Titanic is, both pieces here. So you can see wreck of the RMS Titanic and RMS Titanic and debris field. So shipwreck area of RMS Titanic. So this vehicle is definitely in the right spot to be looking for these people. Flight radar and radio comms. That's a good idea. let's see if there are any flights over the area. Public flight tracker. Flight aware flight tracker. Nope, not that. Here we go, flight tracking map. Let's zoom out. Let's go up to Newfoundland. There are a lot of airplanes in the area, but we might be able to just determine which ones are participating in the search and rescue based on their patterns. These all appear to be just transatlantic passenger vehicles. Based off their flight patterns, I don't see anything that indicates that they're participating in the search. Most of them are just flying out of Canada or New York. Now, this air traffic area is New York's international air traffic area, as well as Quebec, Montreal, Ottawa, Halifax, and Newfoundland. So I'm sure that makes things a little more difficult for any type of air reconnaissance, seeing as how they are going to have to dance around all of these other passenger flights. Yep, all civilian. It's interesting to me that we even sent aircraft like our submarine hunters, the P-8 Poseidon. Yeah. It's interesting to me and also quite amazing that we have access to this information. We can just track any airplane flight we want from our web browser. We can track any ship. Look at all these ships. Every single one of these are ships. Isn't that insane? Let's see what ships are on Lake Michigan right now. There's one in Benton Harbor, Michigan. That's cool. There's the Laura Jane. They're deep out in Lake Michigan on the Illinois side. The Sidori. The Strider. Double Clutch. There's a whole bunch of ships out by Chicago. Rich people out getting drunk in their ships. It's a great night to do it. It's beautiful outside. Let's see what kind of ship. Oh, the Laura Jane. It's a sailing vessel. It looks like they're headed to Chicago from Muskegon, Michigan. That's cool. That's some rich people shit right there. So back to the rescue efforts. We're tracking the Polar Prince here. If you could subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. I'm also going to be streaming on Kick as soon as I get to it. But this is just an impromptu mobile stream. That's why I'm shooting on an iPhone at a laptop. I normally stream with a high quality PC and a green screen, which could enhance the immersion of my stream. But I'm not doing that tonight. So I'm going to call it a night. and I'll probably be back tomorrow with some updates. Thank you for tuning in. Peace out. Have a good night. Be safe. Don't go on submarines.